Your morning grapefruit juice could be sending you to the hospital, and your doctor probably never told you about it. If you're over 60 and taking any kind of medication, you need to hear this. There are foods sitting in your kitchen right now that can make your pills stop working, or even worse, turn them toxic. I'm talking about regular, everyday foods that millions of people eat without thinking twice. But when you mix them with certain medications, things can go seriously wrong. And the scary part? Most people have no idea this is even happening. Here's the problem. When you pick up your prescription from the pharmacy, you might get a quick warning about not drinking alcohol or taking it on an empty stomach. But nobody sits you down and explains how your breakfast, your afternoon snack, or even your vitamins can mess with your medicine. And this becomes a much bigger deal as we get older, because most people over 60 are taking multiple medications. The more pills you take, the higher your chances of a bad interaction. Your body changes as you age. Your liver doesn't process things as fast. Your kidneys slow down. Your stomach acid decreases. All of this means that foods that never bothered you before can suddenly become a problem when mixed with medication. And when you're taking 3, 4, 5 different pills every day, the risk multiplies. One study found that nearly 50% of people over 60 are at risk of a food-drug interaction, but less than half of them know about it. Before we dive in, take a second to hit the like button. It really helps this video reach more seniors who need this information, and that's how we help more people together. And I'd love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments. It's always inspiring to see seniors from around the world coming together to take charge of their health. Now, let me start with the big one that catches most people off guard. Grapefruit. Yes, that healthy citrus fruit that so many people love at breakfast. Grapefruit and grapefruit juice can interfere with over 85 different medications. That's not a small number. We're talking about common drugs for cholesterol, blood pressure, anxiety, and even some antibiotics. Here's what happens. Grapefruit contains compounds that block an enzyme in your intestines. This enzyme is supposed to break down certain medications before they enter your bloodstream. When grapefruit blocks this enzyme, too much of the drug gets into your system. Suddenly, your normal dose becomes an overdose. You might experience dizziness, irregular heartbeat, kidney damage, or worse. And it doesn't matter if you eat the fruit or drink the juice. Both cause the same problem. Even more surprising, 1 glass of grapefruit juice can affect your medication for up to 24 hours or longer. But grapefruit isn't alone. Let's talk about leafy greens. Now, vegetables are good for you, right? Usually, yes. But if you're taking blood thinners like warfarin, you need to be careful with foods high in vitamin K. This includes kale, spinach, collard greens, and broccoli. Vitamin K helps your blood clot, which is the exact opposite of what your blood thinner is trying to do. If you suddenly start eating large amounts of these greens, your medication might not work as well. You could be at risk for blood clots or stroke. The key here isn't to avoid these foods completely, it's about being consistent. If you eat spinach every day, your doctor can adjust your dose. But if you eat no greens for a week and then have a huge kale salad, that's when problems happen. Bananas are another one that surprises people. Bananas are packed with potassium, which is normally great for your heart and muscles. But if you're taking certain blood pressure medications called ACE inhibitors or ARBs, you need to watch your potassium intake. These medications can cause potassium to build up in your body. When you add high potassium foods like bananas, avocados, or oranges on top of that, you can end up with too much potassium in your blood. This condition is called hyperkalemia, and it can cause muscle weakness, fatigue, and dangerous heart rhythms. Again, you don't have to cut out bananas completely, just don't go overboard, especially if you're also taking potassium supplements. Let's move on to dairy products. Milk, yogurt, and cheese can interfere with certain antibiotics, particularly tetracyclines and fluoroquinolones. The calcium in dairy binds to these antibiotics in your stomach and stops your body from absorbing them properly. This means the medication can't do its job of fighting the infection. The same thing happens with calcium supplements and antacids that contain calcium. If you're prescribed one of these antibiotics, you should wait at least 2 hours after eating dairy before taking your pill, or take your pill 2 hours before eating dairy. Coffee and tea might be part of your daily routine, but caffeine can interact with several medications. If you're taking certain asthma medications, the combination with caffeine can make you feel jittery, increase your heart rate, and cause insomnia. Caffeine can also interfere with how your body absorbs iron supplements and some osteoporosis medications. And if you're taking antidepressants called MAOIs, too much caffeine can cause a dangerous spike in blood pressure. Here's one that people really don't expect. Licorice. Not the red candy, but real black licorice made from licorice root. This stuff contains a compound called glycyrrhizin that can cause your body to lose potassium and retain sodium. If you're on heart medication or diuretics, eating licorice can throw off your electrolyte balance and cause irregular heartbeats or even heart failure. Just a few ounces of real black licorice per day for a couple of weeks can be enough to cause problems. Alcohol deserves its own section because it interacts with so many medications. We all know not to mix alcohol with painkillers, but the list goes way beyond that. Alcohol can increase the sedative effects of anxiety medications and sleep aids, making you feel dangerously drowsy. It can cause severe drops in blood sugar when combined with diabetes medications. It increases the risk of stomach bleeding when taken with aspirin or anti-inflammatory drugs, and it can cause liver damage when mixed with acetaminophen. Even 1 or 2 drinks can be too much when you're on certain medications. Now let's talk about something that seems completely harmless: fiber supplements and high-fiber foods. Fiber is great for digestion, but it can interfere with how your body absorbs medication. If you take a fiber supplement like psyllium at the same time as your medication, the fiber can bind to the drug and carry it out of your body before it gets absorbed. This is especially true for thyroid medications, diabetes drugs, and some heart medications. The fix is simple. Take your medication at least 1 hour before or 2 hours after your fiber supplement.
Cranberry juice is another one that catches people by surprise. It's often recommended for urinary tract health, but it can increase the effects of blood thinners like warfarin. This means your blood becomes too thin and you're at risk for serious bleeding. Even a couple of glasses a day can be enough to cause problems if you're on blood thinners. Vitamin K supplements and multivitamins that contain vitamin K can also mess with blood thinners. This goes back to what we talked about with leafy greens. Vitamin K promotes blood clotting, so it works against your blood thinner. If you want to take a multivitamin and you're on warfarin, look for one that doesn't contain vitamin K. But here's the most dangerous part that nobody talks about. It's not just about one food and one medication. It's about the combinations. When you're taking multiple medications and eating multiple foods that can cause interactions, the effects can multiply. Your blood pressure medication might interact with grapefruit. Your blood thinner might be affected by leafy greens. Your antibiotic might not work because of dairy. And your potassium levels might be too high because of your blood pressure medication plus bananas. All of this happening at once creates a perfect storm. And here's what makes it even worse. The symptoms of a food-drug interaction often look like something else. You might feel dizzy and think it's just old age. You might feel tired and blame it on not sleeping well. You might have stomach problems and think it's something you ate. Meanwhile, the real problem is that your medication isn't working right because of what you're eating, or it's working too well and becoming toxic. Many people end up in the hospital because of food-drug interactions, and they never even realize that's what caused the problem. Conclusion. So what should you do with all this information? First, don't panic and don't stop taking your medications. These interactions can be managed, but you need to be aware of them. Every time you get a new prescription, ask your doctor or pharmacist about food interactions. Don't just ask if there are any. Ask specifically about the foods I mentioned in this video. Write down what they tell you and keep that list somewhere you'll see it every day. Second, be consistent with your eating habits. If you eat grapefruit every morning, tell your doctor so they can prescribe a different medication or adjust your dose. If you love your leafy greens and you're on blood thinners, don't suddenly stop eating them or suddenly start eating huge amounts. Consistency is key. Third, time your medications properly. Many interactions can be avoided just by spacing out when you take your pills and when you eat certain foods. Take your medication 2 hours before or after problem foods. Follow the instructions on your prescription label about taking pills with food or on an empty stomach. Fourth, keep all your doctors informed. If you see multiple doctors for different conditions, make sure each one knows about all the medications you're taking. Bring all your pill bottles to every appointment and tell them about any supplements, vitamins, or herbal products you're taking too. Those can cause interactions just like food can. And finally, trust your body. If you start feeling off after you begin taking a new medication or after you change your eating habits, tell your doctor right away. Don't wait to see if it gets better on its own. Food-drug interactions can be serious, but they're also preventable if you catch them early. Your medications are supposed to help you live a longer, healthier life. Don't let common foods turn them into a problem. Stay informed, ask questions, and pay attention to what you eat and when you take your pills. It might seem like a lot to keep track of, but it's worth it to avoid a trip to the hospital or worse. Hit the like and subscribe if you want more health tips that could save your life. See you in the next one.